what I feel sad is I know a lot of people went into this expansion and they played it as each other expansion. The difference was you didn't really get anything this expansion. Like if you played this expansion expecting what you expected in Dragonflight, in Shadowlands, in BFA, you know, the new best thing, there was none of that.
You missed out on about 70%.
Yeah, and I think some people would have felt disappointed because it was basically the same game. They didn't get anything. No hero talents yet. You just have to level through and you just blazing it through. So you get more talents. There's this expansion. At least the start of it gives you nothing in terms of new gameplay. It's the same game as Dragonflight.
You level, you do
it's
quests,
the same
you
shit.
level renown.
Yes, the main difference is that the story and the characters,
the quality of the experience is unparalleled.
This is one of the sad. And you cannot really blame people for this because this is how they created the game.
That's how they were trained.
Yeah, they got used to playing the game this way, and it's a sad state of affairs. But honestly, I feel sad for those who like just skip through everything and didn't really pay attention to any of it, because once again, if you're gonna play WoW like, you know, a seasonal game that it is, that's fine. We played it like that for the longest time. There's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of spice into your game, because let's face it, if you do play WoW competitively at some level, you really don't play any other games. I mean, that's a rare situation, like where most players that play WoW, you know, do keys, do raids, mythic progression, don't really play other games because they really don't have the time or the energy or the patience for it.
It's a very specific game.
So when you play the game, you know, just rushing to get your gear to get ready for the season start, when you play this game just for that gear rush and, you know, progressing as much as possible, I believe at some point you either get burned out or you get bored. It's inevitable. You know, there's very rare occasions where you would feel like the urge to like keep doing the same old thing over and over and over. Why not just add this little bit of spice like right now when there's really nothing else to do? Like just enjoy the little side quests, the dailies, the events. I love all the events. You know, like it's like even like talking about those, right, with the theater, which is a little bit of, you know.
I haven't done the theater. I'm such a,
you know, it's stupid, it's quirky, but it's fine. You know, it gives another angle to these.
This is a good point to make, because I feel like this ties into a lot of things that happen in Dragonflight as well, where people are calling the game bad, and they're not necessarily wrong, but they're not necessarily right either, because they opted to play in a certain way, and that's fine. Listen, people who decide that the game for them is to level up and do all of the dungeons, get all the eye level, max out their tunes, maybe level up another one and do the same thing all over again. If that's how you play WoW, that's perfectly fine. You're the one buying it, because I see people, they're coming into our streams, they're in the chat right now commenting in it, and that's fine if you play that way, but you make that choice. And it's not like Marcelian said, you're not wrong for making that choice, because for the longest time there's nothing else what to do.
That's how
but
you know
now
how to play it.
You're legit missing out in actually playing the RPG part of an MMORPG, which is going through the quests, listening to the music, getting immersed into the zones. Because you're gonna end up spamming dungeons and getting eye levels and upgrading gear for a year and a half from now on, continuously.
It's gonna be the same thing over and over and over.
Now is the time to actually, you know, detach from that and actually experience what the game could also be, because I do feel like players need to be trained into what good WoW can be, because WoW has been good for a long time. It hasn't been amazing, and it wasn't as good as it is now, but it has been good for a long time. But people didn't really want to see it because it wasn't parts of the WoW that they cared about. But that's fine, but you get to choose what parts of WoW you care about. So we advise you to actually go into the game, listen to the music, watch the zones. I actually took print screens with my UI turned off.
Me too.
I put them in Photoshop and I did a little like color ticking, and now they're my wallpapers.
Oh yeah, I didn't went as far as that, but I always take screenshots of like new zones and new characters. You know, I get across to new expansions.
Yeah.
Well, see, is this the best expansion ever? Like, if you think about it from the point of view of what's coming new in this expansion, I mean, dude, Dragonflight was not a bad expansion.
No.
Dragonflight basically put back...
It revolutionized the backbone of the game, which is systems, which are the talents came back, professions were revamped, we completely moved from proper reputation to renown. We had the renown in Shadowlands, but it was not reputation. It was like a totally different thing. It got melded into reputation in Dragonflight.
That's cool.
We've had open world events that felt very community, which to be fair, we actually don't have that much in the World Within.
Yeah, we do.
We don't have the great hunts anymore where you have like 50 people.
Do the teether, my friend.
Oh, is that the theater? All right, then we have that in Dragonflight and the World Within as well.
This is what's called parenthesis here. The events now are in every zone, and each event has its own flavor, like really cool. Every event has its flavor, and that's cool. I'm closing the parenthesis. Carry on.
Yeah, but so all of these backbone parts of WoW have been built up, and unfortunately, Dragonflight didn't put the meat on the bones. Just
you
yet.
didn't have the epic moments, and even like the non canon lore people that even those are expecting an epic moment at some point, because they've been through that.
That's
okay. They don't care about the story. They this is again how they got used to playing the game. Yeah, I don't care about the story, but after I killed the last mythic boss, that's a cool cinematic. That was part of it. They would expect that was not happening in Dragonflight.
Nope.
Dragonflight was the basis for making the game feel good again. Now, War Within is Dragonflight, but now added with the epic moments. We already had a couple of epic moments just leveling through. I cannot wait to see what the fuck will happen after we kill.
Oh, there's so much more to come. I did want to answer a little bit your question when you said, is this the best expansion? Obviously, it's too early to tell. And
yes, it is.
We're definitely going to be back, 2 months from now, when we're probably going, I don't know, halfway through Mythic, when we are...
Yeah, we're going to shit on this expansion once the season starts. I'm telling you, it's going to show its problems.
Hopefully not, but there's a good chance that we might. But talking about the experience so far, because it's very hard to say, is this the best expansion? Because everybody just defaults either to Wrath, or to Legion, or to MoP, or to TBC and stuff like that. Why? It's very hard to rival emotional and personalized characters like Arthas and Illidan and the Burning Legion and stuff like that. It's very hard to rival that. But if we're gonna take these at face value and take the skill of the writing and the skill of the storytelling, the skill of the music and the exploration and the pacing, this probably is one of the best. As someone who really involves itself into stories and other RPGs, I really love Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher 3, stuff like that. This is one of the best stories ever told in WoW, even if the characters are not the biggest, the ones the variants, the Guldans and all of that stuff. Even if those are not the characters, these are the best written characters that I have played in so far for me. So from that perspective, this is probably the best expansion they've done.
That, and also the fact that Dragonflight laid down again a basis of good gameplay mechanics. Professions were much more interesting and involved. They matter once again. You can craft a lot of good gear for yourself, for your guildies, to make some gold or whatever. The War Within introduced like the NPC crafting orders, which are really cool because that will help you out a lot. Sure, hero talents are basically more talents, so that's not really a feature that the War Within would bring on. You have the delves, you have the war banks as well, that is pretty huge. Like you can basically level like a lot of alts now with ease. The more alts you level, the better it is, the more experience you get, for your alts. So that's really cool. The war-bound gear. So gearing alts is also much more.
When were you able to do this?
No, that was never a thing, and we complained about all the alt situations. But just forgetting about that. So how is the game mechanically? It's once again, it's basically Dragonflight with even more like quality of life touches added onto it. Obviously, when the season will start, you will see the problems with the tuning in Mythic Plus, in the raid probably. Those will always be there, and as opposed to like other expansions in the past, you don't really have that new banger system introduced that will completely change your gameplay or alter your journey into WoW, even playing in a seasonal seasonal type of gameplay. That is not there. It's like the best time to just even go and level your alts and still like pay attention to the stories and the characters and whatnot, and not go to next and just to rush it all up. It's not that expansion. That used to be Dragonflight. That used to be Shadowlands. That used to be BFA, Legion. That used to be it because you wanted to get to that carrot on the stick. This time you don't have a carrot on the stick. You're the stick and the carrot is the story.
Somebody's a carrot here.
Yeah, no, the carrot is the story, and all the carrot. And again, it gives you so much more because for us at least, it's great anticipation for actually stepping into the raid and seeing how the story continues.
Just a little quick parenthesis to what you're saying. You know how it feels like the world is finally a character again. Like when a lot of people were talking about vanilla.
Yes.
The story, the world, the music, the zones,
I missed that so much. I missed that. I just, just getting back into the world, and the world is being made out of, the little characters and the little quests and the side quests and all the NPCs. Listen, man, there's even funny fucking dialogue if you go through the cities and just stay a little while, and there's dialogue between people and stuff. Those are funny as hell and really nice touches. Definitely need to pay attention to those. Again, I'm not expecting for all who play super hardcore this game to be aware of that, but really you don't really have to rush for anything. All of the gear you have right now, from the renown, from crafting, that's gonna be shit in a week after the season starts. You're gonna replace that as fast as possible because it's fucking 580 something. Maybe you're 590. Okay, hooray. That will go out the water when you start your normal and heroic raid, and then you start going to mythic and pushing keys higher and higher. So it doesn't really matter. It's not like in the past where you would just have to rush to be super prepared and all. It's not that anymore. Unless you're part of Method or Echo. Sure,
that's different.
That's very different. It's basically your livelihood at that point. But enjoying the game is, I think, the most important thing. And if you're not enjoying the game because you feel but this is nothing new, this is basically last expansion, what is this?
This could be
bad.
This could be very subjective, but we were conditioned to actually care about the only thing that really mattered in WoW is the practical uses, the practical rewards, and what you got out of your hour. I spent 3 hours. Am I getting my money's worth out of those 3 hours? How much eye level did I acquire? How much currency did I gather? We were trained to be that way, kind of like little pet monkeys, ever since most likely Legion with the artifact power, and then evolving into more degenerate systems later on. And it felt like that was the game. For the longest part, those were the things that mattered, and we kind of stopped enjoying the good things. There were not very many good things to enjoy outside of that. There were. I'm not gonna trash it. There's plenty of good stuff. But if we want WoW to be a better game and to take us into the future of what WoW could be, we have to start being trained in a different way, right? We have to start actually enjoying different things in WoW. My opinion about this subjectively is that now we can actually start to care about other things. Maybe start to care about renown is kind of like a byproduct, but talking with all the little, doing all the little quests and gathering all the little data from the characters, and actually just be in a world that's alive, and just having that urge, like Marcelian said, to actually log in as oh my god, I want to see what quest they put back today into the game. I want to see if that farmer gets his kid back or whatever, right? So those little things kind of really were not important for the longest time, and they're probably not going to be as important, once the season starts. But until then, and whenever they add little tidbits of story, I actually care about the world that I'm in, and I'm not just logging into this zone and then I'm just going through
doing your chores,
5 loading screens, and I just live my life in an instant part of World of Warcraft, which is either a Mythic Plus or a raid.